Hey, what's going on, my friend? It's Jeff Newbert from ChasingStrength.com. And in today's video, I just thought I'd share with you a recent kettlebell workout that I did while I was on a road trip, right? That's one of the beautiful things about kettlebells is if you have a car and you have some kettlebells, you can just pop them in the back of your car, your truck, or SUV and take them with you. So that's exactly what I did. I recently drove down to Phoenix to see a couple of my friends at a workshop. And that was fun. And I should put fun in quotes because it's 14 plus hours. And I think that's probably because I stopped in Sedona, which is beautiful, by the way. So if you've never been there, it looked beautiful. I think I'm going to take my family there. And if you've been there, let me know, right? Let me know what you think. Leave some thoughts in the comments area. Thank you. Thank you, Brain, for working. I appreciate that. Anyway, I was down there at a workshop. It was called the Programming Demystified workshop by StrongFirst. It was a day and a half, and it was fantastic. Here's a quick side note for you. If you're a coach or a trainer and you want to take your programming game to the next level, I highly recommend you sign up for that the next time they offer it. I don't know when that's going to be, but hopefully they'll offer it more frequently than they currently have, right? That was the first time out of the box. But it was fantastic. And the reason it was fantastic is basically it took about the first 10 or 15 years of my search for programming in my career and put it in a nice little bundle and put a little bow on it. So that thing is going to help you out tremendously if you train clients, right, or train athletes, or you just want to better your own programming skills. All right. So there's that, right? So here's the deal. I left early on this road trip. I went down there, I think, super early Friday morning, like 4 a.m., because I had a project I need to work on, and I got 2 kids, and I work from home. And so if I need some space, it's really hard to get some space, some peace, and some quiet. So like I said, went down there early, got some space, peace, and quiet. Went down on Thursday, drove all day Thursday, and that gave me Friday before the workshop to work on this project. But I also took my kettlebells. I took a pair of 32s with me and strapped them in the back seat. Side note, if you're going to travel with kettlebells, I highly recommend putting a towel down on your seat so that they don't damage your seat, especially if you have leather. And then you're going to take your kettlebell. You're going to take your seat belt and you're going to run your seat belt through the handles and clip them in. So they're going to be locked in place. Okay. Do not put them in the trunk of your car because, and ask me how I know this, right? As you turn the corner, they'll roll around and they can bust out the inside of your trunk. Okay. And same thing for actually the inside of the car. Make sure they are secured. Seatbelt way is the best way I found. All right. So Friday afternoon, about 5 p.m., which is the time I typically train, I took those 32s out in the backyard and I trained for a whopping 30 minutes or so. Set my timer for about 20 minutes. And I end up doing clean and presses, right? Yes, double kettlebell clean and presses. If you've been watching this channel for any length of time, you know that I am a big fan. So how many did I do? I did 10 sets, 5 reps, about every 2 minutes or so. Okay, so I ended up 20 minutes. All right, then I rested about 5 minutes and I clipped off a set of 5, a set of 9, another set of 5 front squats and called it a day, went back inside to work, right? So that was it, quote unquote. Super simple, super easy training session, all right? I really love that particular style of training when I'm traveling because it's enough. Okay, it's a retaining load, basically, for me, especially the 2x32s. And yes, in case you're wondering, yes, they are relatively light for me. But remember, well, in case you don't know, I mean, this wouldn't be remembering, right? In case you don't know, I've got a lifetime of training underneath my belt. I've been training for 35 years. Okay, as I make this video, I'm roughly 200, 205 pounds, whatever that is in kilos, right? 90, 91, 92 kilos. But I've been as heavy as 252 pounds. Okay, so what is that? That's 113, 115 kilos, all right, and everywhere in between for the majority of my life. And right, I've competed, qualified for the national championships and Olympic lifting. So my body's got a lot of mileage on it. So again, 32s, not really that much for me, but that is for me. Okay, so please don't compare yourself to me. All right, so why the clean and press? Okay, well, as we've discussed in the past, it's literally a one-stop shop for all things strength and conditioning, especially if you're time constrained, right? Busy dad, busy businessman, okay, busy mom even, okay, you can get a lot of work done in a short period of time. And that's because the double kettlebell clean and press, and to a lesser extent, the single kettlebell clean and press, right, works the upper body, especially the shoulders, arms, upper back, even the upper pecs, right, the clavicular pecs up in here, okay, works your abs big time, especially if you know how to press correctly. Works your hips, your glutes, your hamstrings, your calves, right? The whole posterior chain, the erector spinae, the muscles that run up your back from your sacrum to the base of your skull, right? It works your quads, even works your calves, surprisingly. That depends a lot on how you set up and how you grip the ground when you do your cleans and your presses. And obviously, or maybe not obviously, but if you do some higher reps, this will obviously, and you'll know this once you've done them, work your heart and your lungs. Okay. And plus, if you're the kind of person who just likes to feel like you got a good workout in, well, you're going to get that just got a good workout in feeling from head to toe, stem to stern, as they say. All right. Here's some more, just some incidentals, right? I talked to my buddy Sven from Germany on that particular Saturday. This dude's a big beast of a man. Okay. I'm trying to think how big he is. He's probably about 6'2", 6'3", 6'4", something like that. Probably a good 100 to 110 kilos, beast of a man. He's a big fan of double kettlebell work, and he recently hoisted the legendary Scottish Dinnie stones. If you don't know what those are, we'll throw something up here on the screen so you can see that. We'll even clip a picture of him doing it. Okay. Well, he and I talked about training, and he asked me exactly how I trained. So I thought, hey, maybe you'd like to see how I train. So I'll put my training schedule in here. Okay, so I took him over to the whiteboard and I diagrammed him out. I'm not going to go into all the minutia, all the sets and reps, but I will give you a template that you might find helpful or not. If you don't, stick it in the vertical file, right? But it's essentially this. On day one, I do the barbell Olympic lifts, some front squats, and some ab work. On day two, I do some more front squats. Don't ask me about that, okay? Double kettlebell, clean and press, light, some more abs. And then on day three, I do ring dips and chins, okay? And again, those may be weighted or unweighted, just depends on what I got going on. Okay. Then I take a day off usually, and then I'm going to repeat that cycle, except the double clean and press is not light, it's heavy. So I'll use a different pair of kettlebells. Okay. So I typically end up training 4 to 6 days a week based on my energy levels and the amount of time that I have. Now, some of you might be saying, but Jeff, I thought you only recommend training 3 days a week. What's with that? And the deal is I do recommend that most guys only train 3 days a week. Now, why? Why do I recommend that, but I don't follow those guidelines myself? Well, because I'm not most guys, right? It's not that I'm special per se. It's just I have a home gym. A lot of guys may not, right? I'm my own boss. I don't know how many of you work for yourselves or self-employed or run your own businesses versus, working in a large corporation or working for the man, so to speak, right? And furthermore, I'm keenly in touch with how my body performs and responds to my own training, because I've broken myself good and plenty in the past, right? Over the past, I guess it was from, good golly, when was that? Probably about age 22 to about age 32. I broke some things and it cost me a lot. Cost me a lot of time, cost me a lot of money, cost me a lot of energy to figure out how to fix myself and put myself back together and train in a way where I didn't do that again, where I didn't repeat my mistakes, okay? Plus, I'm just mildly obsessive compulsive about that sort of thing anyway. So, however, right, I do want to point out to you some things that I won't do or that I don't do in my training, okay? I'm putting this up here because if you follow these, I think you'll find it helpful too, okay? So number one, I don't push hard all the time, okay? Number two, I'm not chasing PRs. I literally let them come to me when I feel good and the numbers line up, and then I'll hit a PR, okay? Number three, I rarely use hard and fast set and rep schemes or strict rest prescriptions. Okay. Rarely. So I'm not going to do a 5x5 very often. Number 4, I guess it would be, right? I rarely train longer than 45 minutes. Most of my training sessions currently are averaging right around 30 minutes. Some, right? So that's an average. Some are as short as 15 minutes, right? When I do those chins and dips workouts, I'll do those anywhere from 15 to 30 minutes, depending on how much time I have. Okay. More often than not, it's 15 minutes. All right. And I never, ever, ever skip restoration work. Okay. I lied. Sometimes I'll skip restoration work, but 90% of the time I don't skip restoration work. Okay. Seriously important to me to be able to live to fight another day. Nothing I hate more than working up stiff and sore with joint pain or muscle pain and stiffness, right? That rarely happens. But that used to be a common occurrence back in my 30s and even a little smidge in my early 40s. Okay. You know what? I recommend that you put those things on your list of don't do's as well. Okay. Every time in the past that I've ignored them, training becomes, how should we say it, less than optimal. Okay. One more thing I think is worth pointing out. I also heavily rely on the concept of auto-regulation with my kettlebell and bodyweight work. Not so much with my barbell work because it's super low volume and pretty technical. Okay. But anything that I'm pushing volume on, so kettlebell and bodyweight work, very, very strictly auto-regulated. All right. So as you can see, I pretty much train exactly the same way that I advise you to train in all these videos. And the only difference between the two of us, maybe it's the barbell work. Okay. For me, the only reason I do barbell work, not the only reason. I mean, I'm I love Olympic lifting. So that's the one reason I do like to keep it in there, right? But the other reason that I keep barbell work in my training is because it's a measuring stick for me. Okay. It's a measuring stick to see how well my restoration work is working. All right. So if my restoration work is not working well, then my barbell lifts feel awful. I'm not going to go into why that is, but the kettlebell work and the body work does not feel awful. But I can cheat myself by not doing restoration work and still do kettlebell work and bodyweight work. All right. So hopefully you found that helpful. Gives you some insight into how yours truly is training. And you might be wondering, well, Jeff, how do I do what you do? How to combine the kettlebell stuff and the barbell stuff, or the kettlebell stuff and the bodyweight stuff? Do you have any sort of resources to help me do that? And so, sure. I mean, this is a common question that I get. And so I put together a program called the Bolt-On Bundle, which shows you how to mix kettlebells with barbell work and how to mix kettlebells with body weight work, right? Some templates in there and actually some programming details in there for you as well. I'll leave the link in that video for that in the description below this video. Okay. And last thing, if you like the idea of the kettlebell clean and press as a one-stop shop, or the idea of just a one-stop shop type exercise program, I'll leave a link in the description below this video as well for one of my most popular clean and press programs. All right. Hopefully you found this video helpful, or at least mildly helpful and entertaining. Give you some idea how I train when I'm on the road and, just in general. If you were at all interested, and if you found it helpful, took something away from it, go ahead and click the like button, the subscribe button if you haven't already, and feel free to share it with a friend. All right. Until next time, my friend, stay strong.